I, I'm gonna. I think the Braves are a good fit. Three for like 60. I think he's going to be right around 20 mil a year. If I had to guess, it just seems like kind of a good fit for him too. I mean, the Braves are a team that, like I said, obviously they got the hole now with Fried losing him as one of the top of the rotation guys. I think that's not a bad bargain for them to see if they can replace Fried with Flaherty. Two guys who at one point, a few years ago, were kind of neck and neck in the NL. Talk about best young pitchers in the National League. I mean, Flaherty at one point with the Cardinals was in that discussion.
Yep.
So I think whoever's getting him might end up getting a pretty good bargain.
I think Corbin Burns is the guy that is going to move on from Baltimore. So they have to find a way to get a replacement. What better way to do so with Jack Flaherty adding him into the mix? The pedigree of being a champion, and he knows how to pitch in. Baltimore is like a fun ballpark. It's not the biggest market, but like similar to Detroit, right? Detroit's on the up and up with their team, just like Baltimore is. And he spent some of his time with Detroit. So I think Baltimore will find a way to bring him to Camden Yards and find a way to make him at least the number 2 starter, if not the number 1 when it comes down to opening day. So I know Patrick Corbin's on this list. I hate to throw him in the mix, so let's put in Sean Manaea, or
Okay.
Manaea.
All right. Manaea,
yeah. Where do you think he fits?
Yeah, that's another potential. I mean, another guy who had a bounce back year. With the Mets. The Mets clearly pressed all the right buttons last year. Gave Manaea a 1-year deal, kind of revitalized his career. Let's go with the Texas Rangers.
Okay. Yeah,
let's
that.
not forget this is a team that just won the World Series. 2 seasons ago. The Mets still might be interested in him. I think the Mets would be interested in him. But the Rangers, with their young, core, certainly offensively, I think it makes a lot of sense for them to, add some pitching. I believe I saw did they re-sign Eovaldi?
Yes, they
saw
did.
that.
Yep.
Okay, so they re-signed Eovaldi. They certainly, as they saw last year, needed some help in that rotation. And I think Manaea is a guy that's going to give them that. I think he's going to get a little bit under what Flaherty gets. Probably going to be a little bit more of a bargain. Maybe around like the 17, 18 mil a year mark, maybe just under 20 ABV. Yeah, why not the Rangers?
Yeah, I like the Rangers fit as well, but I will say the Giants. I look at the Giants, and they're in a tough division, right? So the only way you're going to have a leg to stand on when it comes to making the playoffs is trying to figure out a way to, stop offenses, right? That's just a fact. And if you can add Corbin Burns into the mix, and then you add, Sean Manaea, it sounds like there's a good fit there for the 1-2 punch. And another team to maybe look out for is, I agree with you, is the Mets or the Toronto Blue Jays. If the Blue Jays missed out, with Corbin Burns, maybe they take a strike on a lefty, no pun intended. And so I think that Sean Manaea is a real good player to watch out for. And I think he's being overlooked into the free agency. I really think he's, highly touted coming, into the league. And he throws very, very hard. Incredible stuff when he's on. Kind of like no hitter stuff, to be honest. So he's a guy that you can definitely. He did throw one. You're correct. Yes, he did.
The A's, right?
Yes, with the A's. Yes. And then Christian Walker. Where do you think he lands?
I think he's a Yankee.
Okay.
Now,
is there any explanation?
Because he's a good fit. It definitely would be a fit. He's definitely going to be an alternative to the Pete Alonso, as we talked about. Maybe Goldschmidt. I think he's going to be a little bit more productive than Goldschmidt. But, this is a guy who's consistently hit for power over the last couple of years. He's had some clutch moments with the Diamondbacks. He's won his third straight Gold Glove at first with Arizona, so definitely is a guy who can still give you some plus defense and can slug. And listen, the Yankees just need stability at that position. They've last several years. I mean, they thought they might have had it with Rizzo. They re-signed him, and you know, they certainly got burnt by it. They thought they had it with Luke Voigt. That was a flash in the pan. They thought they had it with Greg Bird, one of their homegrown guys. That didn't work out. Now, Walker would be a rent, I don't want to say rental, but, he's 33, 34 years old. So
Yep.
I don't think he's got many seasons left at the production he's been showing in Arizona. Also, obviously, very different to go from hitting, in a dome, pretty much like the Diamondbacks play in. I think they can open up that roof as well, but obviously very
It's
kind of
retractable.
friendly hitting place. Yeah,
Yep.
retractable roof. And then they go. I should know. I was there once. Um, and then the Yankees, obviously, very different environment, but I think the fans would embrace him. I think he's a good fit. He's got a little bit of a gut. Where's the chains? He fit right in. Why not? Christian Walker. I think it makes sense.
I think he goes to the Mariners. And
He
I
doesn't
think
look
the
a Mariner too. I'll give you that.
yeah, he looks like a Mariner. He fit great with Julio Rodriguez and Alex Bregman as I predicted. So I think he goes on probably like a 3-year, $63 million contract, to Seattle, being a great fit there. But at the end of the day, I really think, that there's a lot of depth in this free agency. There's just like, you got to kind of pick and choose, right? And like with catching, you're probably more heading towards defense at this point. You're not looking for a star-studded catcher, offensively. That's not going to happen. Outfield has been kind of like a little bit, kind of untasteful. Like, you kind of look at the Juan Soto, good signing. You look at Teoscar Hernandez, he's available still. I think what teams are really looking for is the trade market. And that's where I think a lot of the teams are going to find talent. And, you hear chatter all around. For example, with Houston, Kyle Tucker may be available in trade talks. The Yankees are interested. The Rangers are interested. Chicago's interested. The Cubs. So they're going to have to find a way to keep that chatter going, because that's where I think most of the trades happen is the winter meetings. And then you kind of recap it at the end of the winter meetings and you say, all right, what else do we have to do in order to make a trade? Where do we have to be in order to win your player? So you got to find a way to make things happen in free agency, but not overdo it and not overspend and understand value. But overspending is all about Scott Boras. So if it's a Boras client, just be ready to spend. Like, agents and teams, they have a great relationship. Most of them do. But for whatever reason, a lot of times big market teams think they could just be cheap. And guess what? That can't happen, especially with Scott Boras clients. So guess what? You got to write the checks. You got to hash out the money. And you got to figure out a way to make things happen, or else you might go bankrupt when it's all said and done at the end of free agency. But that being said, the hot stove will continue this week. Next week, we will have a little bit of fun since it's the most wonderful time of the year. We got Christmas coming up, and we're going to have a fun time talking about Christmas. We'll get into more hot stove. We'll get into underdog picks, and we'll also get into the BDE Belt winners. Ticket, got any final words?
Yeah, I mean, the hot stove's boiling right now. We got to put that lid on it for, like you said, winter meetings. They round up. After that, it's late in spring training where the rest of the moves get made. But to put a feather on that one. But yeah, listen, it doesn't feel like it, but Christmas right around the corner too.
Oh, it's quick. It's coming quick. When Thanksgiving happened, I said, guess what? We're putting the tree up. We're getting the lights out. We're watching Christmas movies. We're eating Christmas cookies. You got to do it early on, because if not, guess what? Time flies, and the holiday season flies too. So we will talk to you all next week. Tune in. Take it easy.